Welcome back, gearheads. Today we're going to be going over the update for the 87 Chevy truck. I've got a large update for you. It's been a while since I've told y'all what's been going on. I've been trying to work out the kinks after the swap, and everything's going pretty well, especially after today. Alright, so let me go ahead and start from the top. First, I told you before we had an open diff rear end in there with 273 were the gears. Well, since then I took apart the rear end. I want to put in a set of used 342 gears that my buddy Richard hooked me up with. While I was in there though, I thought I would go ahead and test it out and see what it's like to weld up the diff, be like a locker. So we went ahead and did that, solid locker, and I'll go ahead and, in my opinion, it's to each their own preference, but in my opinion, I do not like daily driving a locker, Lincoln locker, welded rear end. Not fun at all. My turning radius has been cut down. Every time I turn a corner, or actually just leaving a driveway to turn left or right, is chip, 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 chip. Maybe I'll try to get a video of that here in a minute so you can see what I'm talking about. Everybody thinks I'm trying to do a burnout all the time. Not cool. Well, I did it. I wanted to learn the hard way, and I did it as a temporary fix because I plan on putting a posi unit in there. I'm going to go with the unit I found on eBay. They run about $330 for so it says an Eaton type of posi. All right. Next on the list we got. Went to the drag strip. I took the truck to the drag strip. I'll show you a video of that here. That's what it is. Best time we got there that night was a 976. The first two runs were 990, and then the best run was 970. I was okay, happy with that. I expected a little bit faster, but for a daily driver and a heavy truck, a 480E transmission, I wasn't too disappointed in it really. But when I got back and we looked at the log, my buddy Mike Rowe hooked me up. He looked at the log for me and he realized and noticed the thing was launching in second gear for some reason. So since then though, we've got it fixed. It doesn't appear to be launched in a second gear anymore. So we need to get back to drag strip and see what it does now, actually starting out in first gear. That should be good. Like I said in my last video, I've been trying to learn how to tune these things, right? Well, basically all I really did was get familiar with how the HP Tuner software looks and how to maneuver through it. So I didn't get much learning done. I got some learning done, but not much. I haven't had the time. I've had too much going on trying to build the Roadmaster in the truck and get everything ready. Kids, I got a lot going on. I would love to learn, but I gotta wait until I have time. So thankfully, I've had 3 buddies hooking me up, helping me out, and got the truck running decent. And the tune's not 100% complete yet, but it's running way better. And see, we got Clyde Carlson, he hooked me up, Mike Rowe, and Clint Chipley. Thank you very much, guys. Man, y'all got the truck running well enough to where at least I can daily drive it now. Before that, it was pretty bad to where when I put it in gear to back out of my driveway, it would almost die. It sounded like it was going to die every time I tried to move around the parking lot and stuff. Thank you guys. Next on the list, I'll let y'all know, last weekend was the Ardmore car show. Went to the car show with a bunch of friends, had a good time hanging out, met some good people. It was pretty cool. What made it even more cool is that the group of us that went, all of us, just about, most of us, won the top 5 in the category for the 80 through 89 trucks. It was pretty cool. In my last video, I talked about making a swap video of what I just did in the 87 Chevy truck. I have posted up a time-lapse video of what happened, but that's not the swap video I was talking about. I still want to make a swap video. Problem is, it takes time. It takes a lot of time to make. I've got a lot of pictures I'll have to add in and a lot of editing. So I'm not sure when that'll happen, but I want it to happen, so it will happen. It's just going to be a while. I was under the truck the other day and noticed something with the springs. You know, we had a lean. We've had a lean to the driver's side. It's about 1.5 inch lean, and wasn't really sure what it was. You know, I told you I thought my frame was jacked. I took it to the frame shop. They said it was, well, one shop said it was jacked up, needed to be replaced. Took it to the second shop. They said the frame was fine. So I've just been riding with it. Still leaning 1.5 inches to the left. It's driving me crazy. Well, I was underneath it the other day for something, and I noticed the distance between the bump stop and I guess it would be the cross member was way less on the driver's side. Check out the pics. Yeah, so that gives me that right there from those pics shows me two things. It's either a bent control arm, which is not very likely, or something's jacked up with the springs or the spring pockets where they sit. So I'm going to get under there and figure that out. And at the same time, though, I have some other suspension work that I need to do, but we're going to get this thing leveled out. I've had a couple guys on Facebook give me tips and show me a 1.5 inch spacer they use on one side to level it out. I've had other guys tell me about using new springs and cutting them down, just cut them down until they get level. But we're going to get this thing level. Now, the biggest story that we've had going on the past week, man, my back is killing me and I'm tired because I've been working on stuff on this truck. It had a chatter. The chatter was bad. It sounded like valve train chatter. On this 220 cam, I wound up using stock push rods, only because that's what I had at the time, and I wanted to see how long they held up. You know, you're supposed to put some hardened push rods in there, but I like taking chances, as y'all should know from watching my videos, with these used piston rings I use, etc. But so I want to take a chance, and I just knew that chatter had to come from bent push rods. So I jumped in there, pulled out the push rods. They look fine. Crap. Sounded like valve chatter. Had to be valve chatter. So the only thing left on my list was lifters, because I kept the 165,000 mile lifters in there. So I assumed it had to be the lifters. Pulled the dang heads off, changed out the lifters, put it all back together. Still had the chatter. This chatter now just came on all of a sudden. It hadn't been there. It'd been running great for weeks. 3 weeks, about 500 miles. It even made a 200-mile trip up to Nashville and back. So this noise, though, came in real lightly, and it's been changing as it gets louder. So here's a video of what it sounded like just yesterday. Yeah, once I made that video and got to hear the chatter the way it sounds now, it doesn't sound so much like valve chatter anymore. We assumed it had to be something in the transmission, flywheel, flex plate, torque converter area. So I jumped under this morning. Sure enough, 2 torque converter bolts were loose, hand loose. Third one was tight. Tighten them up, fix the problem. That's all it was. Torque converter bolts had me pulling heads. Learn from my mistakes. I'm familiar with what a torque converter, loose flex plate bolts sound like. Usually, in my experiences in the past, it sounded like a knock. Clack, 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 clack. Like an engine knock. I've had people think they need to rebuild their engines from those bolts being loose. That is not what this one sounded like. This one sounded like a chatter. Well, I think the reason that chatter came in maybe because one of the bolts was loose, tight, and the other 2 were loose, causing some kind of weird chatter. I don't know, man. Now let's go over to the truck, and I'll show you some other updates on the truck. First, I'll start with the badges. Check them out. Somebody on Facebook hooked me up, sent me a link. Those are pretty cool badges, man. Look way better than those vinyl ones I had on there on the last video. Next, I'm going to talk about the drop. I have only 2.5 inch springs on it right now. This is the side that sits lower. My spindles I had to take back off because they wouldn't clear the 15x8 back spacing rally wheels. So what I'm going to do is I got 15x7 wheels. I showed y'all in another video that I painted. And they got dirt and crap on them right now. But I'm gonna put these 15x7s on. They got more back spacing, or excuse me, less back spacing, so that it'll clear the drop spindle. I'm trying to get these put on Monday. On the front tires, I'm gonna run a smaller tire, a 225/70/15. My buddy Long gave me that tip on how they look. They give me more clearance in the front and get the front end lower. The rear, I'm going to go with the 275/60/15, so they'll be about the same height. You got a lot of meat on the back. That'll allow me to put my 2.5 inch drop spindle on, and I'll go to a 1 inch spring instead of these 2 inch springs. If I want to go lower later, I'll throw the 2 inch springs back on. Some of y'all, I've had a lot of people comment how much they like these tires. Probably pissing people off by changing them, but these are bald, worn out, and they're too tall. I can't get any lower with a tire that tall. Might be okay for some people, but I want to go low. Probably still going to put the white letters out because the white letters break it up. Instead of being all black, it gives it more of a look. Engine bay time. First thing I'm going to show y'all is this dipstick. Check it out. Truck dipstick mod. My buddy Taylor Griffin gave me some tips, showed me how to do it, and I knocked it out. Later on I'll post up a video of how it was done, you know, with step pictures of how it all happened. Usually they come way up here somewhere. I like it a lot better tucked down away like that. Next is, let me tell you about this cooling. You know, I use this heater control valve to stop flow through my heater core, so that way it doesn't, you know, blow the hot air into the cab during the summertime. You don't get too hot. You just flip the switch back and forth whichever way you need it. Well, with the stock thermostat in there and that heater core closed, that valve closed, so there was no circulation through the heater core, my temperatures would get up to about 13 degrees hotter. I opened up this valve and it cooled off 13 degrees. So it got down to where it should be. The operating temperature should have been, you know, around, you know, 200. With that valve closed, it would get up to 213. Well, hold on, don't quote me on these times. It got as hot as 224 one time. The reason I said 13 degrees hotter, I'm not talking about 213 degrees how hot it was. I'm talking about a comparison of overall temperatures that I judged, monitoring it for a while, putting a load on it. By opening this valve constantly would reduce it to about 13 degrees. A lot more. So what I'm trying to say is, it seemed with that thermostat, I even put a different thermostat, a different stock thermostat in there, and with that valve closed with no circulation through these two heater ports, it would run hotter. That was crazy. So I mean, that would everybody who said you needed to have if you don't run a heater core, you need to have a loop right here to loop these two together, that would back up what they said. And I still believe in that. You know, some people put a cap on there or even drill and tap it and put plugs in there. But I'll be able to switch this switch off and on, which is the same thing as capping them off, and watch the temperatures change. So my note is, don't plug them, loop them. On the same note, let me tell you this. Now I want it to run cooler, so I put a Mr. Gasket 180 thermostat in there, and I love the temperatures it's running at. Love it. But I will also tell you now that when I close my heater valve, I don't have as much of an issue. It's not running as hot. Very interesting. I'm still monitoring that. Well, that's all the update today for the 87 Chevy truck with the 5.3. Y'all have a great weekend. Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more of my budget building LS projects, tips and tricks, hit the subscribe button below and you'll get a notification as soon as a new video uploads. If you like what I'm doing and you want to see more, hit the like button below so I can keep on producing what you want to see. Y'all have a great weekend, be productive, and keep on wrenching.